Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual career spotlight on behalf of Chinook School Division and the Regina Industry Education Council. My name is Lisa Kuntz-Salmonuk, and I am the Chinook School Division Industry Education Program Facilitator. We are pleased to have Kira Durston here with us today to share her career journey to a career in the agriculture sector. Do you have creative and scientific interests? Ever wondered if your interests might suit a career in agriculture, but not sure where or how? Our time with Kira today is sure to answer some of your questions and consider what career options might be available to you. Her spotlight is sure to inspire and empower women to pursue a career in agriculture and break down the barriers for women in this industry. Kira Durston is a young woman who is passionate about her work in the agriculture industry. As a senior agrologist, her work takes her all over southwestern Saskatchewan. While Kira did not grow up on a farm, she quickly discovered her passion for agriculture, specifically agronomy, when she went away for school and started learning more about biology and plant science. Learn more about her journey from sports nutrition at McGill University to a Bachelor of Science with an interest in plant science, providing her with the opportunity to learn more about growing the food rather than nutrition and eating it. Find out about the various work experiences she has had along the way and how her current job offers her the opportunity to use her science knowledge while also being creative and working with people. Kira's journey will be sure to inspire those who are interested in exploring both their creative and scientific interests. Please join me and welcome Kira here with us today. Take it away, Kira.
Great, thank you, Lisa. So just a couple things about me. My name is Kira Durston. I currently work for the company Southwest Terminal, or SWT, located kind of in the southwestern corner of the province. And my position is known as the Senior Agronomist or Senior Agrologist. Just to give some information regarding my education, like Lisa had mentioned, I originally went to McGill University for sports nutrition. I was very into fitness. I was very into healthy eating. And once I got to school, I ended up actually switching into agricultural sciences after about a year. Some of my favorite subjects when I was in school included biology and phys ed. So I ended up finding a good link between agriculture and healthy lifestyle. For a part of my education, I worked with McGill's Animal Science Department on a project dealing with specifically dairy cattle nutrition and how the food that dairy cattle eat affect their reproductive abilities. And then I also worked on McGill's research farm with small crop plots as well. I wanted to include some pictures of just some of the really cool different classes that I took. So when I was at McGill, I ended up doing things like worked a lot with, we did some dissections. This over here is me actually holding a heart. So I really liked doing stuff like that. This is kind of some of the work that I did involving the dairy cattle and the nutrition. We really looked at the blood, how the blood really changed. Worked with little baby chickens, worked with little baby animals quite a bit. And a really cool class that we got to take is we got to really travel around and really look at all of the different types of farms that were kind of in the Ontario and Quebec area, but also we went all the way to Cuba and looked at how agriculture was really performed in Cuba, and that was a really neat experience. So we went to a mango farm. We saw the equipment in Cuba was really a little bit different than what we use, and so that was really great experience for me to really learn a lot. Some information regarding my career path. I was always into fitness, sports, and nutrition. I never grew up on a farm. I did like going to my friends' houses that lived on farms, but I never really was involved in it. To be honest, I thought plants were very boring, and I didn't really think that there was anything really interesting about them. But since then, I've really worked in many different areas of agriculture. That's kind of the cool part of the agriculture industry is it doesn't really matter what you're interested in. It could change, and you could just kind of go into something else as you go through your career. So I started working out in a pig barn for a summer where I worked in a nursery. Like I said, I worked on the research farm where I did a lot more, like I did some stuff in the lab where I was literally taking tweezers and I was dissecting little hairs or roots. and putting them on petri dishes, but I was also helping to seed canola plots and taking samples in there. So that was really neat. After I was done university, I ended up switching and working actually at a pulse processing plant where we bought pulses and we did grading them and things like that. So that was really neat to see more of the grain buying side of things. I've worked for a couple of different retails of companies that either buy grain or that sell crop inputs or chemicals. And I even did some work. I was kind of inspired after COVID with a lot of people got creative with the COVID era where we tried out making videos and working in that space. So I took a little time and I did some work in marketing and communications as well, which is completely different than what I was kind of used to. And so it was neat that I got to kind of try all those different things out within my career. Now I work as the senior agronomist for Southwest Terminal. So I started off doing a lot more work outside as an agronomist and did a lot of in-field scouting. Now within my current role, I do a little bit more in the office than I kind of did when I first started out, just because now I do a lot more training and I help to develop other agronomists that are just starting out. So I kind of give them the tools that they need, kind of give them the resources that they need, help a lot with the training and that kind of thing. Just to give some more pictures, like I said, started off working out in a pig barn with the little piglets, which was a really great experience. And then I was kind of laughing as I was looking for pictures for this presentation because the pictures in my camera roll really started to shift. Instead of pictures of baby animals and that kind of thing, it ended up becoming pictures of a lot of weeds where I would be like, I don't know what this weed is. So I would take a picture of it, go home, look it up, or send it to somebody else, and they would help me kind of figure out what it was. So it was kind of interesting. Lots of plant pictures, lots of pictures of different things going on in the field. Insects that you find. This is a cutworm that kind of eats some plants. So just trying to diagnose what's really going on in the field. And then something that I really actually love doing is when I was little, I kind of always thought I'd wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. And so actually I get to use a lot of that in my current role as well, where I get to go around in the winter and teach and talk about current things that are happening in agriculture and just being that extension to farmers, which you can see in this lower picture here. That's something that I really enjoy doing as well. Some duties of an agronomist. So scouting fields, consulting with farmers on what you find. There's a lot of links between us and maybe the research side of agriculture, just because farmers are very busy. They don't have time to go to all of the different research plots and all of the different learning opportunities. And so agronomists tend to be kind of that bridge between what are people trying, what are people researching, and transferring that information to the farmers. So you get to talk to a lot of researchers. You get to learn about all of the different new things, all of the different methods for managing pests and disease. You get to advise farmers on ways to improve their production and profits. A big thing, though, is that you get to consider the environmental well-being, which is also kind of nice because you get to kind of incorporate all those different things into agriculture. There's a lot of new crop varieties coming out. You get to learn a lot about new technologies, and that might include things like new chemicals, but that also might include things like new machinery. That also might include things like new digital tools that farmers can use. And so you get to learn about those, whatever you're interested in, and kind of bring that back and train people on how to use them. Yeah, and a lot of what I get to do as well is I get to try out the new products. So I'll arrange different trials in the field, and then I'll kind of watch how they work. And then I get a good feel of how things are going to perform specifically in our area, and then get to learn more about that as well. So some equipment that I use and some work in. So this is a drone that one of our agronomists is taking out. This is a cool space that a lot of people are starting to work in more and more, where you get to actually go out and scout using a drone or take that kind of imagery. Spend a lot of time in my truck, especially in the busy season, which is right now. We get to go to a lot of farm shows. So this is some pictures from that. This is some pictures of some winter training that we've done, where we get to go out and learn about the new stuff. This is a tool that we use to take soil samples, because we take soil samples. And then this right here is I call it a trowel. It's like a little gardening shovel, and it's essentially attached to my hand throughout the entire summer, because it's a very neat tool to use. So get to work outside a ton in the summer, and then in the winter it's a lot more inside, traveling around to conventions, a little bit more office work, getting prepared for the season, that kind of thing. Some rewards that I really enjoy about my job is I like getting to help others. I do like the concept of independent work, but I also like working as a team as well. So you kind of get a mix of both. My work day changes every day, and I can never really prepare for what's actually going to happen. So it's kind of exciting. It's never really boring. There's seasonality to it, which a lot of people enjoy if they specifically like to maybe travel in the winter. Some people will go and they'll do the busy season here, so they'll spend the summer here, and then maybe they'll go to Australia or something for the winter, because you do have that opportunity to kind of take advantage of that slower season in the winter. I love to be outside, and so I love getting to work outside. I love getting to learn new things constantly, and for me, this is a really good space to mix science and art, and the opportunity for creativity as well. So yeah. Some challenges or stressors. The summer can be quite busy. You can have insect outbreaks, which I wanted to include a picture down here. This is a canola seedling that got devoured by flea beetles. So there are times when there's just insects out there that are just eating crops, and you're just trying to get out there and trying to help as best as you can. Same with disease. Sometimes there's really bad disease outbreaks, and you're just trying to get everywhere you can. I also just kind of wanted to share this. This is a picture of maybe some chemical that kind of got mixed wrong. So just trying to deal with that kind of thing. Another stressor might be that the winter can be quite slow. If you, for me personally, I've always been able to keep busy, but some people might find the winter's a little bit slow. And there can be quite a bit of pressure, because growers really rely on you for your advice. So sometimes I know people kind of are like, I'm unsure about this. And that's where it becomes quite important to really develop your network and have people that you can double check things with and talk to. So there's always ways to kind of deal with it. For your salary and benefits, it can be a big range depending on kind of what you want to do, and if you want to work throughout the whole year, that kind of thing. So it's a pretty broad range, but there's always opportunity to make good money. Just depending on how hard you want to work, you'll be compensated for it. There are benefits for the most part. You do get a pension, and you do get holidays. The work hours look different in the summer versus in the winter. Typically, you will expect maybe some longer work hours in the spring. And then once harvest is done, maybe it's a little bit slower in the winter. So you have a little bit more of that set work day of, 9 to 5 or whatever it seems to be. And I just wanted to say that there are numerous opportunities. There's so many different things that you can do kind of related to this space as well. You could work more in sales if you're more interested in the business side of things. You could work more as a research technician. There's a lot of different ways that you can be an agronomist. You can work in machinery, you can work in technology. There's just a ton of different ways that you can just start to incorporate what you're interested in. So the opportunities are numerous. And yeah, that's kind of all I've got for you guys today. Does anybody have any questions? I have my contact information there if anything does come up. So yeah.
Thanks very much, Kira. I have a few questions for you and just some comments. I think it's very interesting how your interest for biology and phys ed and nutrition and healthy lifestyle led you to a career in agriculture, even though you did not grow up on a farm. Like that's interesting for me because I think many students who don't grow up on a farm or in a rural setting necessarily think that agronomy or agriculture is something that might become a passion for them or that they could even do. So it's interesting for me to see that. I hope that this will inspire others to leave their options open and not limit themselves to an industry that they might consider for a career path. Even though you had no background in it, you've become very successful in that industry. So
Yeah, it's definitely surprising. I know a lot of my friends we kind of laugh about it, like, how did you get into farming? And it was like, well, there is a massive link between food that we eat and agriculture. So once you kind of make that connection, it's an easy way to go into it.
right. And that's one thing I want to try and showcase to students too, that, agriculture has a variety of different things that you can do that you may not necessarily think about. Um, your career path showcases a number of areas of and highlights how you were open to anything. What advice would you have to students who don't really know where to start to look for opportunities to explore various aspects of agrology?
I would say probably like think about something that you're interested in. And just because you're going into that at this time doesn't mean that that's kind of like the final decision on what you're going to do. I think that there's such a good opportunity for you to just kind of explore and just kind of feel things out. There's so many different things that you could be doing and could be looking into, that it's just start somewhere based off what you're interested right now, and it might eventually lead you somewhere else, and that's okay, and that's an amazing opportunity, honestly, because then you get to try so many different things.
hmm And it's interesting that I know, in the past, people would go to college or university or something else, and they would, start on a career path and think they need to finish that. And more we're seeing happening today that it's just the beginning of the journey, and then through looking at various opportunities, like you said, it takes them in a different path sometimes, and that's okay. You thought of being a teacher at one point in time. You wanted to be, looking at nutrition, and you've just taken a whole different path and led you to where you're passionate, and
Mhm.
that's okay.
Yeah, and as a result of that kind of journey and that exploration, I've gotten exposure to a lot of different things that ended up changing a lot of the ways that I think about stuff too. And I think that honestly helps me in my current position, because I have all of these different viewpoints of different things that I've tried, and so the journey is what really helps you to develop who you're going to be in the end. So
hmm And I think that sometimes students limit their or career possibilities based on experiences or their limited experiences. And so, like you're saying, just be open to any experiences that are available to you. Take them as an opportunity, and who knows what career path it's going to lead you on.
exactly, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I also appreciate how you showcase the variety of things that you do using all areas of your passion and your interests, including your interest in teaching. What kinds of teaching opportunities might a career in agrology allow?
So you obviously get the opportunity to kind of teach your farmers, but also learn from your farmers as well. So you bring forward a different kind of knowledge than what they have, and they teach you about stuff that you may not consider. So it's kind of that mutual learning aspect of it as well. In my personal role, I actually get to like teach a lot of agronomists that are just starting out as well. So I do like that aspect of it, where I'm looking at people who are just starting out in their careers, and being like, okay, let's do this. Let's go through this journey together. And I want to try and expose them to as many different things as possible, so that they can figure out where their passion is, and where they want to learn more, and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's lots of teaching opportunities.
I have a few more questions. The next one is, can you give us more examples of how you get to use your creative and artistic side in your role?
Yeah, so that one's actually kind of surprising to me because I never really thought that this would have space for that, to be honest. But there's a lot of different ways where I get to make different handouts and stuff like that, or I get to kind of plan different events and that kind of thing. So it just kind of gives me that opportunity to get creative and still kind of use my my artistic desires, I guess. There's a lot of times where event planning specifically, it's kind of fun. You get to get creative. Even just thinking of the presentations that we want to have throughout the winter to invite growers to, just that opportunity to kind of say, hey, you know what, maybe we should take this and we should turn it into something like this. And so it's nice to be able to do stuff like that still.
Okay. What makes you a senior agronomist? I don't understand the term. Like, are there other ones, like more than just a senior? Like, are there junior agronomists, or like, what's the term senior agronomist mean?
Yeah, so it probably varies in the different companies with the different titles. Specifically in Southwest Terminal, they don't have necessarily specific agronomists. They have FMRs, which are kind of people that do a little bit of everything. So it might be someone with a business degree that maybe likes the little bit of agronomy and that kind of thing. So within our company, we don't specifically have, say, a junior agronomist or an agronomist, but my position kind of is titled senior agronomist because I kind of overlook all of the agronomic direction for the company. So we look at, you know, what chemicals we want to have and what kind of our strategy is for certain things. So that's kind of just where it really stems from, but it could look different. I've worked with different companies too, where my title was slightly different. And it was more of being specifically an agronomist and less a little bit more on the business side. So it really varies between the companies.
Sure. Good. So after you convocated with your Bachelor of Science, how did you get your current position?
So I started off at the Pulse plant where it was kind of my transitionary stage where I was just kind of trying to figure out, okay, where's my full-time job going to be? So there I was just kind of helping with cleaning samples of like lentils and chickpeas and that kind of thing. And then I ended up getting hired on with Cargill as an agronomist, kind of around that Moose Jaw, Assiniboia area. And then within that role, I kind of worked my way up and ended up going into the marketing department with Cargill and doing a little bit more of trying to plan events and different resources that growers can use on the website with the blogs and that kind of thing. And then I ended up switching into Southwest Terminal just because this position became available and it was a space that I could really have maybe some leadership opportunity and that kind of thing. So that's how I ended up at Southwest.
Oh, neat. And leadership opportunity, another skill that you have that you're able to use in the current position. Yeah. I have one more question, and it's really around, so it's just, what other opportunities could someone do with a Bachelor of Science other than agronomy?
Oh, there's a ton. Like you could really get hired in any aspect of agriculture as long as it's something that you're interested in and as long as it's something that you're showing that you can work hard. And there's so many learning opportunities too, that just because you come out with something like a Bachelor of Science doesn't mean that you can't eventually get into, you know, even selling machinery and working with machinery or working with research and that kind of thing. So you could do anything with it, to be honest.
Yeah. Good. Well, thanks again, Kira. I really appreciate listening to your journey. I think that what you had to share is inspiring to not only women, but others. Somebody who has no experience in farming and you're passionate about what you do. And yeah, thanks very much for sharing this with us.
Great. Thanks for having me.